Hi, it's Jim from Trek World, and I've always loved when Trek history drifts into the strange, the forgotten, the almost mythic, and James Doohan gave us one of those shadows, and one that almost vanished into the dark.
The following program is brought to you in living color by Trek World.
Good evening. I'm James Doohan. They've been called ghost stories, legends, myths, and total inventions of an overworked imagination. Whatever they are, tonight we will explore them all. So sit tight and keep a candle burning as we crawl from the safety of a warm bed, slide the bolt, and swing open the door. Tonight we will track, unearth, and embrace those things that go bump in the night.
Now, I'll tell you what I found out about this little golden nugget. But throughout my brilliant oration, I will be cutting inserts where you can see the little sections Jimmy did as they broke and returned from commercials. The first time I came across it, it wasn't in a studio log or production database. It was in a stray video archive. A grainy copy labeled, "Things that go bump." What you see in that video feels unmistakably like late 70s or early 80s Canadian paranormal television. Dramatic reenactments, haunted hotels, creaking hallways, even a schoolhouse with its own ghostly reputation. And there, in the opening narration, is a familiar cadence.
Talk to anybody, then just whisper the word ghost. In seconds, you'll be immersed in a tale of unexplainable occurrence, one that appears to completely defy rational explanation. Everybody, everywhere, has a ghost story. Among us who hasn't at one time contemplated an afterlife, a resting place, a heaven, a hell. The human fascination with what happens after our lives has been with us every bit as long as our fascination with what happens during our lives. And of course, the thrilling possibilities of an unexplored world have prompted some souls to dig deeper, to try and understand, explain, and even to try and contact the other side.
I've always believed Star Trek actors carried a kind of gravity with them long after the cameras stopped rolling, something that pulled them toward any story orbiting the unknown. And every so often, you stumble onto a project that lives in the margins, just out of reach. Something half-remembered, barely documented, whispered among fans and hinted at in old message boards for James Doohan, the man who became Montgomery Scott, the engineer who somehow convinced a generation of us that a fictional warp core could be coaxed back to life with a roll of tape and pure stubbornness. One of those shadowed projects is a ghost story special that people swear existed. A little production that seems to flicker in and out of the historical record like a faulty transporter pattern. It surfaces under a title that sounds almost too perfect for Doohan's warm voice and steady presence. Things that go bump, or something close to it. And that's where the mystery begins. Not Scotty, not really, but the same grounded sincerity, a voice that could guide you through a warp core implosion or a haunted staircase. But the more you chase this thing, the more the trail fades. You look for it in Doohan's official credits. It isn't there. You search IMDb. Nothing. You check Canadian broadcast listings. No trace. Quiet. Even the fan-compiled databases, usually meticulous with this stuff, shrug at the mention. It's only in a handful of scattered places that the title Bump in the Night even appears. A Facebook nostalgia group shows someone posting the phrase with Doohan's name attached. And beyond that, darkness.
Many thousands of people claim to have had authentic encounters with loved ones after they had crossed over. In fact, It's estimated that more than 70% of the population may have had such experiences. That's a large number, too large to ignore. Whether paranormal activity is in fact a fairly common left brain, right brain process, or a completely independent psychic phenomenon, dreams or reality, remains a mystery, at least for now. But the thrilling prospect of actually reaching across to communicate beyond the veil of death is as intriguing now as it was when Harry Houdini first attempted to say goodbye to the woman he loved.
There's something charming about the thought of him stepping into that role. The man known for bending the laws of physics now calmly walking us through tales of spirits, footsteps in empty corridors, unexplained lights. What we don't know is equally important. There's no evidence this was ever intended as a pilot. No trade press announcement. No series order. No continuation. Considering how aggressively Canadian broadcasters reuse tape, the odds are high this was a one-off that never made it past its initial air date. It feels like the kind of small paranormal special that late-night Canadian TV absolutely produced. The locations are local. The production value matches the era.
There are not many places that take the study of the paranormal seriously in Canada. Still, there are a few progressive individuals that sequester themselves away to experiment and document this interesting, if often ridiculed, science. A poltergeist, the Oxford Dictionary states, is a noisy, mischievous ghost, one manifesting itself by physical damage. Some of these poltergeist hauntings have gained great notoriety, like the Amityville Horror and Steven Spielberg's 1982 film Poltergeist.
So we're left with this lovely paradox. We know something existed, but we can't name it with certainty. We can hear Doohan's voice. We can't find the production company. We can watch its surviving copy, but we can't trace its broadcast. And honestly, that makes it more fascinating. Because Bump in the Night, or Janlight, or whatever the original title truly was, becomes a window into how the actors of classic Trek survived in the strange gravitational pull of typecasting. It tells us something about his character, too. He didn't shy away from genre. He didn't resent his connection to the world of the uncanny, the speculative, the wondrous. If anything, he leaned into it. Perhaps because he recognized that the people who loved Star Trek would follow him into any story that touched the unknown. And maybe that's why this little special remains so compelling.
From a castled hotel in Banff to a shop-worn Toronto factory, a doctor's laboratory in Northern Ontario, to an unassuming theme park in Western Canada, everybody has a ghost story. Are they true? Some swear by it. Others are not so sure. But if in your travels you do unearth a tale that is even a little mysterious, and you decide to add a liberal sprinkling of imagination, mix with a pinch of fear, and whisper it on a dark and stormy night, then for that instant, it can be as true can be. I'm James Doohan. Until we meet again, may you and yours be protected from ghoulies and ghosties and long-leggedy beasties and things that go bump in the night.
It's not the production itself. It's what it represents. A moment in James Doohan's career where he stepped sideways into the world of paranormal storytelling, not as Scotty, not as the miracle worker who could jury-rig a warp conduit, but as a storyteller exploring the kind of mysteries that don't come with isolinear circuit diagrams. It's part curiosity, part myth, part missing episode. And in its own quiet way, it expands the emotional landscape of who Doohan was. He wasn't just the guy who gave us Warp Drive. He was a working actor who kept saying yes to projects that allowed him to connect with audiences. Even if only a few of them saw the broadcast. Even if only fragments survive. And for fans like us, that's where the magic lives. In these lost corners, these little half-forgotten roles that survive only because someone, somewhere, kept a recording. So click on the photo at the end of this video and watch the special on our sister channel, Inside Trek World. Check out its ghost stories in cold Canadian corridors. Lean in, listen closely. Let your mind wander a bit. Because what you're hearing isn't just a spooky tale, it's James Doohan carving out one more small chapter in a career full of them. A chapter almost lost, now half remembered, living on through the fans who refuse to let it fade completely into the dark. I'm Jim, and this is Trek World. Thanks for spending your time with us today. Please be sure to check out one of these fine videos next.